What's going on, y'all? Kevin Smith. We have the Kevin Smith with us. Kevin, I intentionally didn't ask you many questions about where you're at, what you do with your life, and all that, because I love uncovering this with our audience. I mean, obviously, there's the famous Kevin Smith out there in the world, but dude, you got some cool stuff going on in your life. I'm sure life experience and, wisdom you can share with us. And we can't wait to highlight you, Mr. Kevin Smith. So thanks for joining us. Tell us where you're located and what you do out in the world.
Absolutely. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been doing real estate for about 12 years. And buy and renovate and sell. I've done about 100 and something houses. So
whoa!
Got full time and absolutely love it.
Cool. I'm embarrassed to say that I don't think I should admit this to a bunch of comedians, but I had to Google who Kevin Smith was, like the famous Kevin Smith. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. This dude, man, are you a fan of his? Are you annoyed when people reach out like us that say oh, Kevin Smith?
I get it more than you would expect. I kind of thought with having a fairly common name that I wouldn't get asked that often about, the famous Kevin Smith. And I do all the time, at least probably once every week or two.
Really?
A lot more common than you would think.
Does it drive you crazy or do you just ignore it?
I just kind of laugh it off and say, I wish I had his money. Yes.
Right. Well, this dude, he was born in 1970 in Jersey, grew up in a town called Highland. So where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I was born in North Carolina, and
okay.
Dad was in the military, so we reached everywhere. We lived in Germany, California, New York, and I've been down in Atlanta since '93. So it's definitely my favorite place of all. Weather's amazing. So,
how do you view the world through the lens of somebody who's traveled a lot and seen a lot of different contexts? I
love traveling. Been to 26 countries.
Really?
That is probably my absolute favorite thing to do. It's amazing seeing the world. You can read about it or watch shows on it, and then the minute you see it, it's just no comparison.
What's something you've taken from that? Like, if somebody's never traveled before, what do you think you pull from that experience?
Just learning about different people. I've been to Egypt, South Africa, all over Europe, been to Saudi Arabia.
Dang.
Very random. And just love.
You said you went to a coffee shop there?
We did. So I worked with a restaurant franchising company for about 7 years before I did real estate. And
okay.
We opened up a sheik in Saudi Arabia, bought the rights to a bunch of our brands in Saudi Arabia. And so we went over
hot dog
2 weeks and opened up a coffee shop there, and the mall's about the size of a small city. And it was a very, very unique experience. There was 20 coffee shops in this one mall.
So Kevin, I'm going to let you know a little secret with me. I don't really trust people who don't drink coffee. It really bothers me. Do you drink coffee or do you go to those places and order tea? Some people order tea and I don't understand it. Tell me the truth.
So I was never a coffee drinker until I met Oak. Tea has turned me where I have it now. I am...
Why? It's just water over a leaf. What's so good about tea?
I
need water over a bean, Kevin. Come on.
Addicted to coffee now. But before her, I almost never drank it. So.
All right, I'm gonna let that slip. This is what I've been learning over researching Kevin Smith, y'all. Because again, I'm a newbie here, but apparently his breakthrough film was in 1994. It was an independent film called Clerks, which he wrote, directed, co-produced. He did it in $27,000, and it made $3 million. So what a cool breakthrough in his career. And I'm wondering with you, Kevin, what was a breakthrough moment in your life or career that really changed the game for you?
So I have kind of a weird background. I actually was a practicing chiropractor for 3 years.
You've done a lot of stuff.
So went to college and then practiced in Augusta for a few years.
I'm in Augusta.
I loved getting adjusted, but I didn't love being a chiropractor. So went and did the restaurant franchising for about 7 years. And while I was doing that, I renovated 2 houses and that was 2006, and just loved it. So
Really?
spent the next 5 years saving up so I could do it full time, and been doing it nonstop since 2000.
What did you love about it?
I love seeing a rundown house that hasn't had much love just brought back to life.
Ooh.
Seeing the before and after, and how amazing we can transform a house that really just doesn't look very good and is kind of the blight of the neighborhood to become the nicest house in the neighborhood. It helps, property values for the whole neighborhood, and people are always very thankful because we took an eyesore and made it a beautiful house now, and it's rewarding.
That could preach, Kevin Smith, man. You talking about houses there. You're talking about lives. Our lives can change. Comic books, the other Kevin Smith, huge influence on his work was comic books. So I was wondering, if you were a comic book character, what superpower would you have?
Wolverine was always my favorite superhero, but I don't know that
He's kind of scary.
He's pretty scary. Let's see. Pretty cool to fly. Guess you can fly on a plane, but if you had a superpower, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be a lot cheaper, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Kevin, at the very beginning, I told you who this group of people was. This is a bunch of artists and creatives and people who love the craft, just like you love real estate, and they're out there working their blessed booties off and sometimes not seeing the results or getting the recognition that they deserve, they want to see. And maybe it's just a timing game, maybe, whatever it is. But sometimes when you're working really, really hard towards something and not seeing a lot, it can get so frustrating. And so do you have any words of wisdom or thoughts for those who are in that grind about maybe your experience of how to keep showing up?
Well, I greatly appreciate the comedy work people do. I have 5 stations programmed on my Sirius XM, and it's all comedy stations. That's all I listen to when I'm driving around is comedians all the time. And it brightens my day. It's fun to listen to, makes me feel good. And I think the work that they're doing, whether it's as noticed as they might want it to be, I think that it's appreciated probably a lot more than they realize. And I definitely appreciate it.
Do y'all hear that? You're making a difference in this world from Kevin Smith. Side note, if you need to buy a house, this is your dude right here. Sell your house. I don't know what's going on. Look up Kevin Smith. Thank you for your time today, your generosity. This was awesome.
Yeah.